I met my boyfriend 3 years ago through mutual friends. He was pretty guarded back then, and I was the one who did the pursuing. At the time, we were long distance, me living in California, him in Virginia. But last year, I moved in with him. He had only been in one real relationship before me and had a brief hookup with someone he later described as crazy. He'd cut ties with that hookup long ago, but he stayed in contact with his ex until she cut him off about 2 years ago. They'd started dating when he was 15 and were together for around 2 years before she broke up with him because, as he told it, he had no self-respect. According to him, she was the reason he'd built up those emotional walls. I'll admit it, I was jealous of her. She was beautiful, and he talked about her like she had the answers to everything. So when she finally cut him off, I was relieved. Then, this past January, something happened. I woke up in the middle of the night and heard him quietly crying. He was looking at his phone, and I didn't know whether to say something or let him have his privacy. Eventually, he got up to go to the bathroom, and curiosity got the better of me. I peeked at his phone. He was on Facebook, staring at his ex's profile. She had just gotten engaged. There were pictures of the ring and everything. It's been 2 months since then, and ever since, he's been breaking down at random. I've tried asking him to open up, to talk to me about it, but he refuses. I suggested therapy, and he got insulted, told me he didn't believe in it. I don't know what to do anymore. This has been happening at least twice a week. I love him, but he's always felt a little emotionally distant, and now it's clear. This woman, his ex, is the reason why. Part of me even wondered if she said something to him that set all of this off. Because he never reacted this strongly to her dating someone else before. At one point, I even considered reaching out to her myself. Maybe she had answers. Maybe she could explain why he was suddenly falling apart like this. But someone gave me a reality check. They told me, no. Don't contact her. Her part in the story is over. Whatever feelings he has left are his responsibility now. They were right. I can't be the one trying to fix this. It's not fair that I am in a relationship where I'm second best to someone he dated in high school. And deep down, I think I knew that. I was insecure from the beginning. He and his ex didn't talk that often, but every few months they'd catch up on Skype. When Hurricane Sandy hit, even though she'd already cut off contact with him, he still tried, calling her, texting her, messaging her. I didn't even know he still had her number. Looking back now, I think I always knew he still had something for her, but I never realized just how deeply it ran. Why did he get into a relationship with me if he wasn't over her? A lot of people told me it wasn't my fault, that sometimes people think they're ready when they're not, and when they avoid grieving properly, it always comes back. One comment hit me particularly hard. You sound like a loving and patient girlfriend, but honestly, he's putting his ex before you emotionally, and it's unlikely that'll change. You deserve someone who thinks you are the best thing that's ever happened to them. They weren't wrong. I loved him. From the moment I saw him, I knew I wanted to be with him. He was so smart, so charming, but I always felt insignificant, especially compared to her. There were signs. Early in our relationship, I once told him that he seemed afraid to open up to me. He admitted that his ex had taught him not to be vulnerable. I thought that would change as we grew closer, and in some ways it did. But every time he caught up with her, he'd get distant with me again. When she finally stopped responding, it was like a light came back on in him. He started investing more into our relationship. He was the one who asked me to move in. But now, he barely spoke to me. 2 days after everything came to a head, I made a decision. I called my dad and asked him to help me move back home. The past 2 days had been an emotional nightmare. Yesterday, my boyfriend was gone the entire day. I woke up and he wasn't there. I assumed he left early for work, but by the time I went to bed, he still hadn't returned. I texted him in the morning, just a simple "good morning," then twice at night, once asking if he was coming home for dinner, and another just to ask if he was okay. I called him too. No response. I was hurt, confused, angry. I decided to snoop, something I'd only done once before when I felt uneasy about his connection with his ex. On his laptop, buried in layers of subfolders, I found a Microsoft Word document titled with her name. It was a conversation, their last one before she cut him off. At first, it seemed normal, catching up. Then he asked how her relationship with her boyfriend, now fiancé, was going. She said she was happy, and then it got dark. He told her he didn't believe she was really happy, that her fiancé would never treat her the way he did, that they'd known each other for years, stayed friends after their breakup, helped each other grow. He asked her to give him another chance, said he'd waited for her all this time, told her he still loved her and believed they'd end up together. All of this while he was with me. She snapped, called him out, said he had no right to say those things while they were both in relationships, told him to go to hell, told him to break up with me, for my sake, because I deserved better. That wasn't even the worst part. This morning, he woke me up with a call, told me to come to the kitchen, said he made breakfast. I was bracing for a confrontation, but instead I walked in and saw this beautifully set table and a ring box in the middle. He told me to open it. I did. He said something like, "These last 3 years with you have been an adventure. I want to keep making new adventures together." That's when I snapped out of it. I exploded. I demanded to know where he had been all day yesterday, why he didn't call, why he'd been crying over his ex for months, why he was proposing now. He got mad at me for being upset, said I should be happy because he was proposing. Wasn't that what I wanted? I asked him why. Why now, after everything? And he said, "Because she's moved on. So it's time I move on too." I've never felt more insulted, more discarded. I've given him everything. My patience, my love, my understanding. And now he wanted to marry me. Not because he loved me more than anyone, but because he couldn't have her. If he'd proposed months ago, I would have said yes with tears in my eyes. But now it just broke us. So I called my dad. I sobbed. He's on his way. And my ex? He's just sitting on the couch, on his laptop like nothing happened. I was shattered, but reading the comments from people helped me realize just how unfair this relationship had been. Then came the aftermath. I blocked my ex from everything: socials, phone, email, changed my passwords, deactivated Facebook, but he didn't stop. He messaged mutual friends, claiming I'd stolen things when I moved out, begging to use their Skype accounts to talk to me. The calls started. 20 missed calls in one day from one number, then 20 from another. I eventually had to set my phone to only accept calls from specific contacts. It made me feel so isolated. After 5 days of this, I finally told my mom everything. She didn't say much, just listened. Then she said I made the right choice, and that I shouldn't have to go through this alone. She took me to get my number changed, encouraged me to reach out to friends, to surround myself with people who love me. I thought people would take his side, that they'd think I was the jealous girlfriend who blew everything out of proportion. But when I told them the truth, they believed me. Apparently, my ex had been telling people we broke up because I was too jealous. But once my friends heard what really happened, they said it all made sense. That support was everything. Still, I struggled. I wondered if I'd made the wrong choice. If maybe he was just grieving, and proposing to me was a way to move forward. Maybe I turned down the only proposal I'll ever get. But then I'd remember. The lies. The way I always felt like second place. The way he stalked her through my account. I knew I made the right decision, even if my heart didn't always agree with my head. I saw 2 therapists. The first one was, not for me. Every sentence I spoke was met with, "And how do you feel about that?" And at the end, he recommended medication. The second one? She was amazing. She told me I didn't need regular sessions unless I wanted them, but to reach out anytime I felt overwhelmed. Even though I was doing all the right things, reaching out, staying social, I still felt like a different person. But things started to change. I began a paid internship about a month ago, and I love it. The people, the work, it's helping me rebuild. And I've started to notice someone. The guy who hired me. He's about my age. There's nothing going on, and I'm nowhere near ready for anything. But he's kind, polite, positive. He reminds me that I should be looking for someone who makes me feel good just by being around them. As for my ex, he mailed me the ring. My dad delivered it back to him personally. And then I heard that 2 weeks ago. He flew to New York to find her. He found the name of her company, stood outside the building all day, waiting to talk to her. I don't know what happened, but she hasn't come back into his life.
So, I'm guessing it didn't go well?
It's wild to think I spent 3 years with someone who would go that far. For someone else. But each time I hear about something like this, it reinforces what I already know. I did the right thing. And I'm finally moving forward.